Hello and welcome to the first edition of the University of Gloucestershire's weekly Rugby World Cup show, InTouch. I'm Sean Watts.
And I'm Patrick Baines. During the course of the pool stages, we'll be providing you with news, views and insights into the tournament. Coming up this week, we have
a look at how the Rugby World Cup is affecting Gloucester,
the knock-on effect it's having on local schools,
and we also have an exclusive studio interview with sports journalist Tom Bradshaw, who's writing a book about the current Rugby World Cup.
So, let's get started. Last week, we sent our reporter Hallam Bickell along to meet the Tongan World Cup squad, who are putting on a coaching masterclass at Cheltenham Rugby Club. It was an opportunity of a lifetime for local school children to meet and participate in training exercises with some of the best players from the South Pacific. Let's see how they got on.
World Cup fever has well and truly hit Gloucestershire in the past few weeks, with the Tongan national team having been welcomed into Cheltenham. The Tongans took part in a community engagement day held at Cheltenham Rugby Club 2 days before their World Cup opener against Georgia. Prop Sione Tongawiya spoke of the team's welcoming into the county.
It's been brilliant. Obviously we had our welcoming ceremony on Saturday evening, and the welcome we got when we got off the bus was quite surprising to the boys. To come into Cheltenham, we didn't really think that they were into rugby. We thought it was just horse races, and the boys were quite surprised. So we were really surprised with how welcoming they were.
And talking about welcoming, the kids here have taken to you very well.
Yeah, the kids are brilliant. I think kids will always be kids. They're always surprised with how big a few of us are, and yeah, they've been welcoming us with open arms and to come and help train them today.
And so how does it really feel to be idolised by these kids?
I think it's special. I think that's why most of us get into the sport. It's been our dream since we were kids, and to become for that dream to become true and be idols for the younger ones. I think it's brilliant that the cycle is there, and hopefully a few of these lads from this generation here will become idols themselves in the future.
A selection of Tongan internationals joined in with drills and sessions put together by local coaches for secondary school children from in and around the area. Cheltenham Rugby Club chairman Steve Ratcliffe discussed the aims and objectives for the Community Engagement Day.
Well, as you can see, we got a Year 8 school engagement tournament organised by the local secondary schools, and we were very fortunate enough to get the Tongan, or representatives of the Tongan squad, down to assist in the coaching and kids development. So we've got 6 Tongan players from this squad of 31, and as you can see behind me, they're helping with coaching drills, a bit of banter with the kids, and basically encouraging them to play rugby. The Rugby World Cup is a massive event, third biggest event in the world, but one of the things we're working at is working on the legacy, because in 6-8 weeks time the World Cup's gone, but rugby is still being played, and we need to keep children, youngsters involved in rugby, and this is part of the legacy programme, introducing kids that probably don't play as much as some people do, and hoping they will stick with rugby, bring their friends along, tell them what a great time they've had with the Tongans, how big some of them are, what a great experience it's been, and hopefully it will enthuse them, their friends, their families, and bring them all into the rugby family.
And so you think the national team of Tonga have made a few more fans in these last few days then?
I think they've made a huge number of friends. They're really friendly people. Tonga's not known as the friendly isle for nothing. They're absolutely brilliant until they cross the whitewash and get on the pitch, and obviously their attitude changes a little bit. But their interaction with the people of Cheltenham, people of the club, people in the town, we couldn't have wished for any more, really.
I was actually down at the rugby club with Hallam, and it was a really great afternoon. A lot of fun had.
Lovely, it's great to see the kids enjoying themselves. Now, it's clear to see that the Rugby World Cup is having a huge impact on local school children. But what about the local area as a whole? Before Gloucester hosted its first ever Rugby World Cup game between Tonga and Georgia, Sam Law went down to check out the atmosphere in the city.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Welcome to the ancient and noble cathedral city and port of Gloucester, a bastion of rugby, history and hospitality.
Ahead of Gloucester's first ever Rugby World Cup game between Georgia and Tonga, locals were excited to make the most of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Fans are creating a party atmosphere as a sellout crowd packed into Kingsholm. It's clear that the tournament is generating an infectious buzz throughout the city and that the community are relishing the chance to get involved in this prestigious event. It's clear that Rugby World Cup fever has struck Gloucester after just 1 week of fixtures. Down here at the docks there's been a real buzz around the place.
It's been absolutely awesome. Bit quiet at the moment due to the game at Kingsholm, but last night was absolutely amazing down here. There was 3,200 people roughly inside the fan zone. The atmosphere was immense.
Well, we've got a great feel-good factor here in the city. It's good for the commerce and industry. All the hotels are full, the pubs are jumping, the museums are full, all our attractions are having a knock-on effect, and actually it's priding up the city, it's invigorating people, and making them feel more confident about the future.
As the competition enters full flow, fans are looking forward to the next 5 weeks of action-packed drama.
Superb work from Sam Law there. Great to see the city so vibrant. And now we're delighted to welcome Minchinhampton-based rugby journalist Tom Bradshaw to the studio. Hi Tom, how's it going?
Very well, thanks Patrick, nice to be here.
Great.
But before we have a chat with Tom, let's have a look at a few local opinions on how England performed in their opening game against Fiji.
I thought the game went well. The score flattered England. They're very weak in the scrum. I cannot see them progressing to the later stages of the Rugby World Cup.
Well, as a Welshman, I'm glad they played bad. But they're going to get through the group stages anyway. All in all, it was good.
Some contrasting opinions there, but let's see what our guest Tom Bradshaw thought of England's opening game against Fiji and their chances against Wales.
Well, I think England, in brief, were pretty indifferent, and I think most of the players would probably agree with that. They just didn't really deliver the type of performance that you would sort of associate with England on an opening night of a competition. If you cast your minds back to the start of the Six Nations, where England played in Cardiff, they absolutely blew Wales away, and they blew Wales away up front. They dominated them through the strength of their ball carrying, and that just didn't happen against Fiji. Those big names went missing really. The big ball carriers just weren't there to be seen. England didn't protect the ball very well at all, and I think the pack actually was very poor in all facets of the game. A lot of improvement needs to be done there. So plenty of homework for Stuart Lancaster and his team, and it'd be interesting to see how they go against Wales.
Now Tom, you're going to be a busy man these next few weeks. You're reporting on the action, but you're also writing a book on the World Cup. Tell us a bit more about that.
I'm writing a book, yeah. It's got a pretty swift turnaround. The final instalment needs to be with the publishers the day after the final. So it's a case of writing the book in instalments as the competition goes on. I'll be writing the first chunk once the pool stages are over. I think I've probably already written my... I know what my intro is going to be, given Japan's victory over the Springboks. What a fantastic result that was. Really shook up the competition, shook up world rugby. So yeah, writing it in stages, and there's a fair amount of pressure. I'm pretty busy anyway during the World Cup. It's nice to have these little projects. You know, what a great project to be working on, a home World Cup, writing a book about it.
And I think it would be rude to have you come on the show and not ask you who you think is going to win this year's World Cup.
Well, if you'd asked me a few days ago, I wouldn't have been able to look very far past New Zealand. But given their rather shaky display against Argentina, I think all bets are off, really. Be interesting to see how Australia go in their first couple of games. If they put a couple of big scores on the board, I think Australia could get a certain amount of wind in their sails. England have got home advantage, and notwithstanding how ropey their first night was, I think if they get back on track pretty quickly, certainly if they beat Wales at the weekend, then I think they're in with a shout, just because they've got home advantage, and playing at Twickenham such a massive advantage for them. But that's just my opinion, one among many. What about your views, Patrick? You got a view on it?
Yeah, I'm all aboard the Japan bandwagon. Joking aside, I think the Aussies have to be respected. They've snuck under the radar. They had a good win against New Zealand a few weeks ago. I think maybe, as you say, the All Blacks weren't great. I think the Aussies can maybe spring a little bit of a surprise.
I'd probably have to agree with you, Tom. I think with home advantage, I think England have got a really good chance this year, and I can't really see it going to anybody else. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for this week.
Keep a lookout for next week's edition of InTouch, which will once again be screened at the official Rugby World Cup fan zone in Gloucester Docks.
But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and see you again soon.